Catching up with Gamecock commit Dante Reno, four-star quarterback for the class of 2024. Dante, I know you've been down in Columbia the last couple weeks. Feels like you might have a freaking private jet for crying out loud. The number of trips you've been able to make down here in recent weeks. What has that been like, especially getting to get to know some of the players as well as Dal Loggins?
Yeah, it's been great. Obviously, getting down there every single time. It's the same with the coaches. They never change from when I was down there last summer or last spring, I would rather say, to now. They stay the same, and it's been great, especially to talk with Coach Loggins about the offense and see what they're doing. I've been to a bunch of practices with obviously a bunch of the commits. They've also been down there too. So it's been great for me. I've been down there, I think, every single time by myself so far. So it's good just to get around everybody, see everybody, and I've been hanging around with Nick Gargiulo, the Yale transfer, a lot. So he's been a great help for me, and it's been really fun.
Yeah, I see you wearing your Yale shirt. Shout out to your dad, Tony, and congratulations to the Bulldogs winning the Ivy League this past year. Having a chance to talk with Dal, obviously this fan base, as you can imagine, they're very excited to see what this offense is going to look like on Saturday, and they'll probably just give more of a tease than anything else. We're not going to see the full course meal, but having an opportunity to talk with Dal, getting to know him, what can you tell us about this offense and why should it excite this fan base?
Yeah, I think it's very quarterback friendly. It's tailored to what the players are good at. It's not trying to do too much. It's not trying to do too little. They're gonna obviously the end goal is to get the ball in the end zone and score as many times as you can. Doesn't matter if that's fast, slow, whether it takes 15 minutes out of a quarter or it takes a drive or two. But I think it's tailored to the quarterback. I would say it's gonna be really fun to watch. I think that in the spring game, a lot of fans are gonna be pretty excited just watching it.
So when you made your commitment last summer, again, having a father that's a college coach, I think unless there was an extreme case, right, a coaching change, you would not flip. I don't know if, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it seemed like that would be the case. Still, there's always that possibility until National Signing Day comes. What has this process been like for you, especially these last couple months as you head into your senior year, and are other schools continuing to contact you?
Yeah, I think it's been obviously, like you said, my dad being a head coach. It's kind of you commit to the program, you commit to the head coach, and then whatever happens from there happens from there. Because there's coaching changes that happen all the time. But yeah, like you said, I mean, there's a lot of schools that still recruit me, but they all know where I stand. I'm 100% locked in with South Carolina, so they all know that. And obviously, like, people are still going to offer you, people are still going to recruit you, and you say thank you, and just stay locked in. That's my biggest thing. And obviously, when I committed last summer, my biggest thing was being able to recruit a class, and I think we're doing a pretty good job with that right now.
You mentioned being able to do well with this recruiting class. I mean, you were part of helping out the tail end of that class of 2023, which obviously finished with a bang with being able to land Nicholas Harbor. The way the class of 2024 is panning out right now, a very strong start. As someone that I think you may have said this a couple months ago, that you guys as a class, you kind of take it upon yourself in a competitive spirit. You want to outdo what the class of 2023 did, and you want to be able to bring players in there for the class of 2025 that want to outdo what you guys are doing right here. Is that safe to say? And how is the rest of this class, you feel like, how it's going to, pan out for the Gamecocks?
Yeah, I think it's going to pan out really well. And like you said, like the guys in the 23 class, like Pup, Dez, Tree, Marquis, all those guys, they kind of set the standard. They had a top 20 class, and we're trying to finish top 10, top 5. And I think we're doing a really good job with that. With it starting up front, obviously we got Mazio, Wendell, and Mike also committed too. But I think it's going to be this weekend's going to be really good. It's going to have a huge guy's going to pop this weekend. But I think just being able to stay the course with recruiting the guys and still doing what we do. We're still calling dudes. We have a group chat going almost every single day within kids that we're recruiting, and then we have our commit group chat that's separate from all that. But we're doing a really good job, and whatever the coaches need from us, whatever we need to do on our end, we're going to do.
You mentioned Saturday. It's going to be a great opportunity for so many of these recruits to be able to get acclimated to whether it be Dow or, just some of the newer faces and newer players that are on this team. For you personally, will you be here this weekend?
I will be. I'll be flying down tomorrow night, which will be Thursday.
What are
Then
these
after,
points? Is the Reno household just picking up points left and right, flyer miles?
yeah, we are. We got a lot of that and a lot of hotel points, which has been good. So we got that, and then fly down that, then be there Friday, be there all day Saturday, and fly back Sunday.
I say all that in a joking manner, but in all seriousness, I know there's going to be some players there that have already committed to South Carolina, and there's also going to be some players that are still making their decision. Do you go down this weekend kind of with your recruiting hat on? I mean, is that something that you and maybe some of the other recruits have talked about? Some of these commits, I should say, for South Carolina already?
Yeah, like you said, like commits, we're going down there to still recruit and still try and get our class together. I mean, there's going to be a bunch of 4 and 5 star kids, no matter who they are, 4 or 5 star, 24, 25 kids, like the big name kids, but there's also kids that they're recruiting that not a lot of people know about. So those are all of the things that we're taking into account. Obviously, we're there to see the game, see them perform, and hang out and just keep creating bonds, keep creating relationships that we're going to take with us when we enroll into Carolina next year. But yeah, like the biggest thing is go down, recruit, have a good time with all of them, and yeah, watch the game and have fun.
I know we may have talked about this a little bit on GC Live Talking Tuesday nights, but for folks that didn't have an opportunity to hear directly from you, back in February, you made the decision to transfer high schools, going from Loomis Chaffee to Chester Academy. How has that been for you so far? And again, for some people that aren't familiar with this story, explain to them why you decided to do that. Because I think some people, they see transfer, they get nervous a little bit. They're like, all right, why is he doing that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I had a great time at Loomis. I can't thank those guys and those coaches enough. I mean, we won back-to-back championships for both years I was there. But the biggest thing for me is obviously after this, my senior year is getting ready for college. So being able to enroll early in South Carolina, which I'll do in January after the Under Armour All-American game. So that was the biggest reason because Loomis, they wouldn't allow us to graduate early. So I would have had to enroll in the summer if I wanted to get my diploma from Loomis. So being able to go to Chester Academy, they're going to allow me to graduate early and do the things that I want to do to put my best foot forward when I step foot on campus.
You mentioned the Under Armour All-American game, which will be a tremendous opportunity for not just Gamecock fans, but I'd say the rest of the country to be able to see what South Carolina is getting. And we've been able to see that obviously over the last couple of years with Gamecock commits. I say that, Dante, because going into this season, what's your motivation? I mean, obviously, you want to be able to win another state championship. There's no question about it. But for you individually, and I know you're a team guy, so it's a tough question sometimes to get you to actually say this publicly. But, what are some of those things that are going to motivate you this year? Because for a player that has already committed to a school, you can see some guys maybe ease into it and kind of just, senior slide, if you will, right? You kind of just cruise by it. I know that certainly won't be the case with you. I know your dad wouldn't allow that to happen either.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, like you said, the biggest thing for me is obviously first being the best teammate I could possibly be to my new teammates and what we've been doing. Obviously, we're not allowed to have spring ball up here, but we've been getting in work on our own on the field and stuff like that when we have open time. But obviously, first being the best teammate because there's always room to grow in that realm. And then second, leadership always comes after being the best teammate is either showing by example or helping a young kid or anything in that area. And then obviously the last thing is just winning games. Yeah, like you said, I mean, going back to back at 2 different schools would be pretty cool. Two of my buddies also came, Jacob and Gerard too. So their decision's coming close. But yeah, I mean, obviously hopefully getting 3 rings. But yeah, it's being a good teammate, leadership part, getting a bunch of wins, and then put my best foot forward at South Carolina. But just winning games at the end of the day.
You mentioned Nick Gargiulo, and South Carolina fans are starting to get to know this guy pretty quickly, and I'm sure they're going to learn more about him on Saturday night when they have an opportunity to finally see 6'9" out there on the offensive line. What can you tell us about Nick, though, for people that don't know him? Because they see this big guy. They see that, okay, he was the only captain at Yale, which is very impressive. I mean, you know the long history of Yale. I don't need to tell you and give you a speech about it. The fact that he was able to do that, and then we're able to see some of the things out there from a media standpoint when we have an opportunity to observe practice. But what is South Carolina getting with this guy?
Yeah, they get a leader first. Like you said, he was the only captain on a team of 130 guys at Yale. He steps into that role, and especially like you said, he's a lineman. So having a lineman as a captain is pretty extraordinary at such a prestigious school like Yale. Then coming into South Carolina, he's just a tough, physical guy in the run game, physical guy in the pass game as well. But he's so smart. He's leading almost every single category they have in the board, and he's just doing a really good job. He came in there, put his head down, and worked. Like he and I talked about last weekend or 2 weekends ago when I was there. We looked at like all the rankings of where they had of all the transfer linemen. He was like second to last out of all of them. So he has a huge chip on his shoulder going into the season. But the rankings to him mean nothing. He's killing it right now. He's playing left guard, and then wherever else they need him at center if they need him there. But you got me now?
Yep.
Yeah, he's doing a really good job. Just from leadership standpoint, helping me out with the team, and especially in lifts too and stuff like that. He said Coach Day has been on his butt. He's been getting them a lot, but he's accustomed well to it. He's a really good kid. He's a really good teammate.
Not having spring football, you and I understand that's not a thing up in England, unfortunately. How do you go about staying in a routine so that you don't get rusty? And obviously, as you've alluded to, you're going to go into football season, and then you're planning to enroll into South Carolina in January. So this will be your final off season where you don't have that luxury of having spring football.
Yeah, I think like you said, the spring football stuff is kind of hard up here. But like for me personally, we have 5 workouts a week. I run 2 times, whether it's at school or it's at Yale. Just being able to utilize those facilities, just being able to do that, and then we throw 3 times a week with our guys. We're not allowed to have coaches or anything out there, so just being able to go out there, just us kind of planning everything we're gonna do, doing it as a team. Nothing's like scheduled or anything like that because we're not allowed to have scheduled stuff. But just being at player-led workouts and doing stuff like that. So basically, I have 3 throwing workouts with them. Still throwing my quarterback coach 1 to 2 times a week, and then we work out, we lift 5 times a week, which has been awesome.
All right. You'll see Dante Reno there Saturday at the spring game under the lights at Williams-Brice. Be sure to go on over, say hello to him, and get excited to see him out there a year from now. It's crazy to think that a year from now you will be getting ready to play in a spring game. Dante, appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you for having me.